Hey guys, how's everyone doing? Welcome to the first Forex for Noobs daily analysis for the year. This is Nick from forexfornoobs.com. Today is Tuesday the 15th of January 2019 and the time is 11 AM here in the UK. You're looking at an AUD CAD daily chart. Today's analysis, we're going to be looking at price action setups across pretty much all the pairs, or most of the pairs listed here. And as we look for price action setups, what do I mean by price action setups, I should say first? Price action setups are reversals, continuations, any kind of price action setup really. I don't really discriminate when it comes to setups. If it's a continuation, if it's a reversal, if it's a range bound pair, I'll look to trade it if I can. So let's get started, but first things first. By the way, can you guys hear me? I don't know who's here or if there's anyone here. Normally, when we do a webinar this early in the morning, we don't get that many people coming, but it looks like the room is filling up a little bit. Yeah, it is. Right. Cool. Nice. Hey, Catherine, Jacob, Chris. We're going to kick things off with looking at the calendar. Just seeing what news is coming up today and take a quick look at later this week because we have some important stuff that's going to impact our trading this week. Unfortunately, the first week of the year, we have the G20 meetings. G20 meetings are pretty much a no-go for trading. During the G20 meetings, you just really don't want to be trading. Why don't you want to be trading? Well, the reason is pretty simple. You're going to get politicians, VIPs, let's call them, who are going to be in front of cameras telling news reporters what's happening in the meetings. And that's been known a lot of times to have a big impact on the currency markets and all markets, really. You got to think of it this way. The most important leaders in the world of all these countries, I honestly don't know what all the countries in the G20 summit are. Canada, Italy, France, Germany, Japan, the UK, the US, and so those are the G7 nations, and then plus another 13 nations. So we're talking about, the most powerful and important countries in the world. Therefore, the leaders and the politicians of those countries are some of the most powerful people in the world, getting in front of cameras and answering questions posed to them by reporters, which has an unpredictable and direct impact on currency markets, stock market, and most, if not all, tradable markets. Therefore, Thursday and Friday this week, it is my strong opinion that you should refrain from trading unless you want some huge surprises stopping you out. Now, I'm a very cautious trader, so that is the way I handle it. You don't have to handle it the same way as me. That is just my opinion. Up to you how you do it, but I would recommend Thursday and Friday skip it because it could be dangerous. It is in fact a pretty, if you look at the list of red reports on Forex Factory this week, there really isn't that much, but the stuff that is there is dangerous. So we also have the Parliament Brexit vote. So they're basically voting, as it says here, vote to decide on the passage of the deal triggering Article 50 with the European Union, most likely going to be rejected. That's expected. I would say that it's very possible that's already factored into price, but with something this monumental, that's going to potentially cause a huge move on GBP and the euro. So unfortunately, I would also say today we should probably steer clear of GBP and the euro. We're just going to leave us precious little options. Then Wednesday, we got a speech, which, always just be careful around speech times. So the only really clear trading day this week is Wednesday. Tuesday, it was today rather, we're going to get possibly a big shakeup with the Brexit vote, which let's check in on see how that's going. I'm just going to Google it real quick. Yeah, so the vote seems to have not gone ahead yet. Probably going to be unfolding throughout the day. But that doesn't mean that we can still trade stuff other than GBP and the euro. And hey, if you're up for taking huge risks and you see a trade on GBP and you want to take it, go for it. I personally just think it's a bit too risky. And I won't be doing it, but I'm going to be doing analysis and spotting the setups regardless, and then you guys can decide if you think it's worth the risk to trade them. Like I said, I strongly advise against it, but hey, you are your own trader. I can't control what you do, and ultimately the decision is up to you. I have never used TradingView's calendar, so I've got no idea, Jacob. I honestly do not even know where it is. That's how little I use it. Well, how little I use it. I don't use it. Is there one of these? Calendar. Here we go. Right, so I guess it's trying to auto scroll down to what's... Oh, it goes all the way back, right. Why doesn't it just start at the date I want? Obviously, that's where it should start. Or maybe it did and I just scrolled past it. Right, so... Yeah, it doesn't look like... Compared to the Forex Factory calendar... We got ECB President Draghi speaking. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's a lot of useless stuff here. Car registration, stuff that's not... Okay, is there some sort of filters? There's a lot of filters. So maybe this can be messed around with to show important stuff. Start by removing... No, we want the Swiss. Anyway, I'm not going to mess around with this now. Yeah, it would be nice if it had better info, but I just stick Forex Factory. I've used it for like however long it's existed, I think. At least a good 10 years I've been using this calendar. Probably more like 14 years. So I'll just stick to this one. So yeah, today, we're already 10 minutes in. We haven't even started the analysis officially. We've just been looking at the calendar. But there's a lot to talk about in terms of the calendar this week. So today we got Draghi speaking at 3 p.m. and we got to vote throughout the whole day. So I would suggest steer clear of the euro. As I've already said, I will be doing analysis on euro and GBP, and I will be spotting potential trades if there are any. You guys can decide if you want to enter them. I strongly advise you don't, but hey, as I've already said, but I'll say again because we're just about to get into it, you are your own trader. You make your own decisions. I'm not going to... I cannot forbid you from trading something, but I can strongly advise against it. So AUD CAD, we're going to kick things off with AUD CAD. AUD CAD is actually showing us a half decent setup, and it is a pair that is not directly impacted by euro or GBP, which is nice to see. 12 hour. This is actually already triggering on the 12 hour. So you could technically enter this short on the 12 hour if you want to. Excuse me. Still got a bit of a cough. It's mostly gone, but yeah, so you could enter this right now on the 12 hour. If you want to enter on the 12 hour, it should probably be soon. If you're going to wait for the daily, which might be the smarter decision, if you're going to wait for the daily, I would suggest entering, well, it depends really. Based on the candle as it currently is, I would suggest an entry around about the 95.44. But that could change throughout the day. If price drops lower throughout the day, then obviously that entry is going to be lower. 12 hour, you've already got an entry triggered, but obviously the lower you go, the riskier it's going to get for entries. This overall doesn't seem like a hugely risky trade. The overall trend is bearish despite this strong bullish turnaround that we've seen recently. It's still in an overall bearish trend. And recently it has been a pretty big bearish move, so I wouldn't be surprised to see this dropping down. It's kind of a continuation. I mean, but you could also argue that it's not a continuation, obviously, because this big strong bullish move here could be the start of a new bullish trend. So it's always tricky when things are like this. It's always tricky to say where the trend is. The dominant trend is bearish, but it could just be that the bearish trend has ended, and it's just not that clear yet. I would personally say that this could be viewed as a continuation, but I would trade it with a bit more caution than a normal continuation. I would treat it with the same caution I would treat a counter trend reversal in terms of my targets and just my general caution towards the trade. Counter trend reversals, we generally have smaller targets because they are a bit riskier. So I would judge this potential setup as being a bit riskier because the trend itself is unclear or even undecided. So I am looking for a potential short here. I'm probably going to stick to the daily. I don't want to enter right away because, like I said, I'm going to be treating this with a little bit more caution. If this was a proper continuation with a very strong bearish trend, I'd probably jump in on the 12 hour, but I'm a bit cautious with this one, so I'm going to wait for the daily. I want to see how this daily candle closes. If this daily candle closes pretty much as it is now, I'll be looking for an entry around something like the 95.40, 95.44, something like that, around about there. With a target, down at the next support area. So a target roughly around 94.50, stop loss roughly around 95.86. Of course, this is undecided yet as in terms of my exact entry target and stop loss because the daily candle hasn't even closed. So it's not something that I could really, give you exact numbers on now. These are just general maybe numbers, but I want to wait for the daily candle to close and enter this on Wednesday. But it is a potential, so we're gonna list it here as a potential. I can't remember what our color coding was. Large time frame setup, so orange. There we go. AUD JPY. Nothing really much going on here. It is pushing up to this resistance area, but it's not quite there yet, so there's nothing that we can do there. AUD New Zealand is in between support resistance right now, so there's nothing really worth trading there. AUD USD. Now this one is potentially... See, support resistance is a bit unclear on AUD USD, especially these ones around here. Because there's been several places where it's bounced, so it's a bit tough to get a good support resistance area placed here. If we adjust the support resistance area slightly, we see that price is stalling out up here at the resistance area, and at the risk of seeming like I'm just curve fitting, in terms of moving my area to adjust to current indecision. When I look at it more closely, it does seem like this might be the stronger area. I replaced my areas sometime last week, and I did it really quickly. So I might have made a bit of a mistake here. I do think that this might be the stronger area of support resistance in this case. Because we got a bounce there and we got a bounce there, and these are recent bounces. But that being said, we've also got it's just very unclear. Support resistance is very unclear in this area. I am going to move it down here, which will open up a potential short trade here, which is in line with the overall bearish trend. So we do have a potential setup here on AUD/USD. Again, going to wait for the daily to close. If you want to, you probably could. No, not really. No, this is very much a daily chart setup here. I don't really see it on lower time frames at all. So, yeah, let's keep a close eye on AUD/USD. Right, EURAUD. EURAUD has pushed down into a strong area of support. This is a euro pair, which is going to be dangerous to trade today. Nonetheless, we are looking for setups. It's just not all of us are going to trade them. I would say most of us are not going to trade them, but you know, some of you might. So we'll look for the setup. Price is stalling out on this support area. It's a pretty good support area. It's backed up by the 200 moving average, which is just an extra kind of support area. It's just a self-adjusting area of support. So price is pushing down towards this double support area here. It doesn't really look to be stalling out significantly at the moment, but if it does, this might open up potential for a trade. This one could easily form on the lower time frame, so I would keep an eye on the 4 hour, 6 hour, 8 hour. What I'd be looking for here is price to stall out on indecision. So if price stalls out on indecision here and forms, sorry, I meant to say price to stall on support forming indecision. So if price stalls on support here and forms indecision, I will be looking for a potential long trade. Well, no, I will not personally be looking for a potential long trade, but we could look for a potential long trade, you know, using my strategy. But yeah, personally, I won't be trading euro today. This could happen, like I said, on the lower time frame. So look at the 4 hour, 6 hour, and we might see something forming here on the lower time frame. So, yeah, 4, 6, 8, 12 hour. This could happen on any time frame, so just keep an eye on all of them. EURAUD is also heading towards support, but it's not there yet, so we can ignore that. EUR GBP, oops, I didn't mean to do that. EUR GBP is just stalling out in between support resistance, nothing much going on there. Euro JPY between support resistance, nothing much there. Euro New Zealand stalled out on support briefly, but it just kept moving down. So yeah, nothing much going on there. Euro USD, we were looking at it yesterday. No, sorry, was it yesterday? Yeah, in yesterday's. No, sorry, I was looking at this because someone asked me on Skype. But no trade happened here. And there's nothing going on there right now. GBP AUD. Yeah, nothing much there. GBP JPY. Price pushed up to resistance and it's backed away already. Might have been a trade on a smaller time frame for someone who would have entered this, but it would have been a tough one to enter because the turnaround was so quick. Yeah, there's nothing really much going on here. I think GBP is going to be, we're not going to see any solid setups just because of this Brexit news coming out. And GBP USD, I mean, yeah, there's nothing really here. Hard to get good support resistance on GBP USD recently also. New Zealand JPY, nothing much going on there. New Zealand USD, all right, this is somewhat interesting. Yeah, New Zealand USD. Price is stalling out on top of this resistance area. Again, this is a pair unaffected by today's news, so this is something we could definitely look at. Looks like a daily chart setup. You could also potentially enter this on the 12-hour. Yeah, it looks like the 12-hour is the lowest where we're seeing a clear setup. So 12-hour or daily, I would say, with this one. Yeah, so if price stalls out on here at this resistance area on the daily, I would be looking for a short on the next candle. Let's just imagine, for the sake of example, that this closes exactly as it looks like now. Then I'd be looking for an entry roughly around about the 0.6808, stop loss roughly the 68.52, and target roughly the 61.17. Now, that's obviously dependent on the candle closing exactly as it is now, which is, possible, but also not possible. Also, it also might not happen, is what I'm trying to say. What's wrong with my words today? 12-hour, you could potentially use the same entry target and stop, but you could enter that based on this current candle. But as always, it is a bit riskier when you're entering on the lower time frames. I'll be keeping an eye on the 12-hour on the daily, and I'll make my decision as it happens. I'll post it to the forum if I do. Right, so USD CAD. Interesting. This area is a bit... No, it's an okay area. Yeah, maybe. What I'm looking at is a potential continuation here, but it's a bit tricky, and it's a bit messy too. There is potential for a short continuation from here, but yeah, I'm not gonna trade that. It's just not. Excuse me. Like I said, I've still got this cough a little bit. It's mostly gone, but if you wanted to be short here, you should already be short. I feel it's a bit of a risky short. Yeah, I'm not going to do anything with this one, guys. It's up to you if you want to. USD CHF, nothing much going on here, guys. Keep an eye for what happens when it hits this resistance area up here, which it looks like it's headed towards quite quickly. There might be potential for a short there, but right now there's nothing much. We'll revisit tomorrow. USD JPY is just moving sideways, which you guys know what that means in terms of the lower time frame setups, the members only setups that we look at. But this is a public webinar, so we're not really going to discuss those here. Right, so that pretty much wraps it up for the analysis, guys. We don't really do analysis on gold and silver, although I might be looking to add them to the normal analysis roundup this year. But not right now, anyway. So just to summarize, don't have much happening today in terms of GBP, and I believe that's because of the big news. We're probably just not going to see much happening in terms of GBP. We do have something over the other pairs. AUD CAD, we have a potential short on the daily. AUD USD, we have a potential short on the daily and the 12-hour. Euro AUD, we're keeping an eye on what happens when price stalls out at this level. I'm personally not going to be trading Euro today, but for those who want to, those who think it's worth the risk, there is potential for a long reversal trade on the 4, 6, 8, 12 or daily. New Zealand USD potential short from this resistance area. Any questions, guys? Sorry, as I wait for questions, I'm just looking up Brexit news, if there are any questions. I'm trying to look up one of those live news feeds from BBC, but I can't find a BBC live news feed. There's a Guardian one, but I don't know. I kind of prefer BBC. Oh wait, has the vote already happened? Then no. To be honest, I haven't really been keeping up on the news this morning. I've had other things I needed to do, so. But as far as I understand, there's no way it won't be a defeat. So we're probably going to see if the vote does go through, we're going to see some insane movements. If it's a defeat, I would suspect that we will see some big movements, but probably not as big because the defeat's already factored in to price. Traders have been trading as if the vote will be against and it will be defeated, or May will be defeated, let's say. So price is already reflecting around where it's going to be based on the belief that that the defeat's going to happen. If it doesn't happen, we are going to see an insane movement, I would predict. But it's an unlikely scenario. But the number one rule in trading is always to protect your capital, protect the money in your account. And entering a trade when something like this is happening on a pair like Euro or GBP, it goes against the number one rule of trading: protect your capital, because you could get a move so quick you're going to get a huge amount of slippage on your position, and that huge amount of slippage could eat away 5, 10, 15, 20% of your account in one hit. So that goes against the rule of protect your capital. Protect your capital is always the number one rule, and in order to protect your capital, you do not trade through events like this. So that's why I'm not trading it. It doesn't look like there's any questions, so I'm going to wrap up this webinar, guys. Thank you for attending, and I'll see you for tomorrow's webinar, and I'll obviously see you in the forum as we discuss trading today, and we see how these setups potentially unfold. So thanks for attending, and I'll see you guys later.